Okay.
Welcome everyone to Transformational Tuesday. This is the 11th month of Mindset Monday / Transformational Tuesday. And I could not be more thrilled tonight to be hosting my dear friend, my direct upline, and just an amazing human being, Michael Brown. And I told him ahead of time that it will be a miracle if I get through this without crying. So just be prepared. It's just, Michael, so good to have you in the room. And for those of you who don't know me and don't know Michael, my name is Kirsten Evenson. I've been with the Juice Plus Company for over 7 years. Thank heavens Michael Brown reached out when I was doing sprint triathlon training almost a decade ago and said, hey, you need to come listen to this amazing speaker, which was Dr. David Phillips, happened to be speaking less than a mile from my house that night, and my life has been forever changed. So thank you, Michael, for daring greatly back in the day. I am an occupational therapist. I've worked in sick care for over 35 years. And when I discovered Juice Plus and this community and the leadership opportunities and people that I got to connect with, it was there was a light that just came on in my life. So Michael is directly responsible for that. So Michael and I met because he is a physical therapist. We both worked for Home Health at the time, had a lot in common with being athletes and lovers of life. And it was just wonderful to work with him. He's, as I said, a physical therapist, a personal trainer, bodybuilder, bodybuilding competitor, Ironman World Championship finisher. He's married. He proposed to his beautiful wife, Mariah, on the first date. If that tells you anything about Michael's personality, when he knows when to press the yes button and go. And he now is just a miraculous father of 3 kiddos, 11 and under. And if any of you saw the poster that I put up, Michael just continues to soar with his children. So it's been an interesting journey with Michael and I going back and forth about what the topic of tonight was going to be. And I will tell you, Michael is one of those visionary thinkers. And it was his leadership and the leadership of Chris Cotton, who we lovingly call Big Buddha and Little Buddha, that really, really inspired me on my leadership journey. And it's one thing to help people get healthy and inspire healthy living, but it's another to be led by visionary thinkers. And I think with that, Michael, just so I don't cry anymore, I'm going to let you run and share your amazing wisdom and nuggets about leadership and the steps that it takes to reach greatness within and outside of yourself. So take it away.
Thank you, sister. I love you. I have such a high level of respect for who you are, and we immediately connected when I joined when we at the work environment, and we've just been Libra brother and sister ever since. A bit about my story. So when I first met Mariah, yes, I proposed on our first date, and then about a month later, I was at work, and Mariah called me at work and said, "I have somebody on the phone, and I think this is something that we need to do together." And the person on the other line was Nikki. And so Nikki began to share a little bit about, it was my first experience in a 3-way call. And for those of you that have had 3-way calls that were meant to be perfect and follow a specific script and et cetera, et cetera, this was just life. I was on the phone at work, patients in my background, Nikki was in Oregon, and Mariah was at a different part of the island on a walk being chased by ducks. It's just like, and since then, we've done all sorts of calls where there's kids in the background. We'll be in the middle of a 3-way call or coaching call, and in comes a kiddo either crying or wanting whatever. And just, you just do this, you do this in life. You don't wait for life to stop and then incorporate it. This is life. This is how we do life. We are real. We are authentic. We are vulnerable. We are engaging. Um, I think it's probably fair to say that we as the Juice Plus community are people who engage with our hearts. Yes, there is some tactical strategy of, business this and learning the research. So there is some cognitive upstairs work that we need to do. But really what it is, it's dropping into our hearts, finding alignment with what are the right words to share? What are the right actions and steps to take? And so then it made me start kind of thinking a little bit more about what are the steps that we take? Where do the steps come from? Is it just some arbitrary book that we read? And then the quote came up for me that success leaves clues. And I started thinking about that more and more. Success leaves clues. But then, there was a part of me that countered that and said, well, there's clues everywhere. There's clues everywhere, if we just open our eyes to see them. But which clues do we choose to follow? Follow. That's fascinating. So what we want to do is, my notes just escaped me on the. So then I was thinking about following and thinking about what is it that we follow. And so I was thinking, okay, let's go back. Like, why are we here? And just a couple notes that I have. So we're here because we all wanted, in essence, to start a business. We all wanted to start a side income, a side hustle, a supplementary, a plan B, whatever we want to call it. That's kind of like the tangible thing. Everybody's why is a little bit different. And that gets pulled from the heartstrings, that gets pulled from the love muscle and the bigger picture. Right. But ultimately, we're starting this in order to achieve something greater. We want to grow bigger, become more, attract more, do more. And what does that mean? It could look like on a tangible level, we want to attract more customers, we want to build more team. And then we start to evolve more into like some of these like 30,000 foot view questions around what type of impact do I want to make? What type of influence do I want to have? Not just on my customers, not just on my team members, my sideline, but just in general, like who do I want to be in the world? And so I started thinking, okay, success leaves clues, but there's clues everywhere. How do we follow? And follow. And then it occurred to me that every lesson that came through Big Buddha, Chris and Nikki, every lesson that came through them was something, some bit of inspiration that came to them that they funneled down to us. That those of us who have been around those teachings, those lessons, the wisdom, the guidance, the coaching, that then funnels from us down to the next conversation. And the reason I say the next conversation is because the conversations can always change and evolve with each person, right? And so then I started thinking, well, gosh, Chris and Nikki are our leaders and they're following. So then I started thinking, well, gosh, all leaders, I think on some level, are following. All leaders are following. What are they following? They're following the clues of the prior success, whether it be a book that Nikki's bringing to the table and saying, hey, this is a book that so-and-so inspired me, or I was talking to somebody and this came to me. So the universe brought that book to her. She then read it and said, this would be great for me to continue to pay it forward to the people that I'm training. And so we become the beneficiaries of that impact. Those become the clues that we follow. And so then I started to brainstorm a little bit more. And of course, this is all just as I'm doing life. These are things that are coming to me, coming through me. So all leaders follow. And then I like to switch it around. But not all followers lead. Right. And we know this. you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, that saying. But we know that we have taken those lessons that came to us that we found so valuable and so full of heart. And we've tried to pass that along. And sometimes they fall on what feels like deaf ears. Sometimes it goes in one side and out the other. Sometimes it goes over somebody's head. And sometimes it goes right in and penetrates big. And that's impact. That's the impact zone. And so just because we're not impacting every single person, or just because we don't see the impact that we're making on every single conversation, doesn't mean the impact won't be there on, in the future, right? We know that we're just planting seeds, and some seeds grow with gentle watering and gentle love and care. Some seeds grow with an intense fire, an explosion, a volcanic eruption sometimes. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper and be like, well, many of us have been the beneficiaries, the beneficiaries of Chris and Nikki's teachings, right? And we've passed that down to our team, and we've seen that impact. So what came from Chris and Nikki to myself and my wife Mariah, we passed down to Kirsten and her team, and it's just like, and to be able to see all of that grow, right? But none of that would have happened if the leadership didn't resonate with us. And so because it resonated, it was so easy to receive. And then it was so easy to then follow and say, you know what? This is a beautiful path. This is beautiful coaching. This is beautiful guidance. These are incredible steps that resonate with me, that are in alignment with who I am, my values in life. And so because I know that this is like a good match, I'm all in. So like there's that know, like, and trust factor. And right away, once Chris and Nikki were talking, it was just, you could feel the heart. I could feel the heart, and it was easy to just be like, I'm all in. Tell me what you think I need to do. And if I need to borrow your belief that I can do it, so be it. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with Chris and Nikki over a decade plus on just, hey, I'm about to go in and do a 5-minute presentation, and I'm like, what do I need to do? And they drop in and they share it. And because I trust the guidance, because I trust that following, because I trust that leadership, it's easy for me to follow. And so I really see it as they are leading drops, like breadcrumbs of clues, leading to the path that I want for myself, my goals, my dreams, and they help pave the way. Their belief in me charged me to be able to be able to move through those challenges and obstacles. So I wrote down, well, what is it we're following? What is it we're following? We just blindly follow their lead. Well, there's things that come up in life, right? We used to hear a lot, set the intention and then pay attention, right? So I have a vision of where I want to take my life, and now I share that vision with my leaders. My leaders then say, okay, based on what you are saying, I'm going to drop some breadcrumbs to lead you along the way. Some of those breadcrumbs could be in the form of a vision, right? So perhaps I don't know what's possible, and they say, well, gosh, what if in 6 months this could be an example of what happens? Oh my goodness, is that even possible? Wow. Like, oh my goodness, like, wow, now we're stoking the fire of inspiration and excitement and drive, and stoking the energy of courage to be able to move through challenges and self-doubt and monkey mind, etc. Sometimes it's leaving the breadcrumbs of specific action steps. This is one of the things that I really loved, because I loved to put together on my whiteboard, okay, approximately, how many people do we need to talk to out of those people I talk to, how many how many do we need to help um, love upon to be able to see the bigger vision and to do the shred 30 or sponsor kiddos, and then how many team, what's the vision for our team. And so I would have this whole whiteboard of these numbers, and I'm a systems and numbers guy. I love to have the organization thing laid out, and so I can see the bigger picture vision, and then I would meditate on it and see it over and over and over again, and see it till it comes to fruition. So sometimes it's those action steps. What do I need to do in order to get there? Those are the breadcrumbs. Sometimes it's following role models, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. What I found was it didn't necessarily mean that Chris and Nikki were the only role model. They were a pivotal role model, but sometimes they would say, "Hey, check out this person over here. See what they're doing." We go to a conference, and Chris and Nikki would take us by the hand and say, I want you to meet somebody. Next thing you know, we're having a conversation with this, NMD from this area, and they help to bridge the connection. And now the neural circuitry of the Juice Plus tribe and the Juice Plus family makes even more connections and fuels that fire. I remember when I first met Terry Luongo, and it was at an event. It was at a conference, and it was just this gentle introduction. Then over the next series of conferences, we continued to connect. Next thing you know, she's out here in Oregon, and we're having an event at her house, and we're spending the weekend and doing one of the pajama regionals at her house, and having this like beautiful relationship. And she's on our calls, and we did some calls for her, and it just opened up. Some other role models could be authors. How many books have Chris and Nikki recommended to this community, and those books either left a framework to get ourselves out of a self-doubt, out of a monkey mind, so to speak, or just like the GoPro. I mean, I wouldn't have known about GoPro if it weren't for Nikki bringing that to us, and how pivotal that was for us in making leaps. And then of course there's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and one of the specific pieces that I still talk about. In fact, I was on a call the other day talking about this, is the enlightened no. The enlightened no, where we get to say no to certain things because we're saying yes to these things. We're saying yes to the things that matter to us. And because of that, we have the courage to say, no, thank you. I'm not going to be doing that. I wouldn't have had any of those things if that weren't passed down from the role models that I chose to follow, from the leaders that I chose to follow. And so I want to really bring it here home and say, in order to follow, you need to have a focus. Once you have your focus, then you continue to follow your focus, and that focus is a beautiful trail of breadcrumbs that your leaders, the leaders that you know, like, love, and trust, have continued to leave for you along the way. And again, how do you know? How do you know if the teaching, if the guidance, if the coaching, if the role model, if the book, if the lesson is right? And because you tune in. You tune into your heart, and you listen, and you feel for that alignment. You listen and you feel. Everybody here is part of the Juice Plus community, is part of this greater family, because you followed your heart and were pulled, this like beautiful magnetic pull, to be part of something greater, to be part of something that's fueled with love, to be part of something that's fueled with inclusivity, to be pulled by something that just feels good, knowing that you're doing the right thing in the world, knowing that you're making a positive impact in every single conversation, knowing that you are planting seeds that will mature over time in hopes of transformation to create a better life, to create a better future. Um, so yeah, so success leaves clues. All leaders follow, but not all followers lead. And I hope that this has given you guys a little bit more appreciation for the steps that are being provided to you by, the incredible leadership of Nikki and whoever your upline is, and perhaps your sideline if you're leaning in on either side, and also reminding you to continue to tune into yourself and feel that alignment. Make sure that the steps you're following are aligned with your values. Yeah, and I'm totally open to any questions, Kirsten. If there's anything that has come through in the chat, I haven't monitored it at all, but if there's any questions that have come through or any comments that are worth bringing up, and of course, I welcome any questions. Yeah, I feel really blessed to be here.
And blessed to have you, Michael. There's nothing really. Your message is so simple and so elegant, and it really, I'm going to just say, distills the leadership that I have felt from you, and I know everyone in this community has. And it really is the balance that you bring of casting vision, but then being able to take a call from a frantic new team member, which I was for months, saying, I can't do this, it's too much. And Michael would do his completely magical thing that he does as a physical therapist, that he does as a dad. And he would just talk me off the ledge and break it down into the steps. And I think that's really kind of the beauty that you're talking about. Is catching the spark of the vision, but then being able to follow the leadership that helps you break it down. And really, that you put it so beautifully, Michael. I can't add anything to that, but I know there are people on this call that maybe don't know you as well as I do, and I would love to have anybody unmute and ask a question or make a comment.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think about is, as it relates to success leaving clues, what are the books that we're reading? What's on your bookshelf right now?
Yeah.
Because we get to be intentional about what we put in, right? We get to choose the television that we watch. We get to choose that. And so
Got some things coming in the chat here. That would be really fun, actually, to see if people just want to land some books in the chat. What would Frida do?
That's what I was gonna ask, is what books you would recommend. Because I really like self-improvement and like Atomic Habits and John Maxwell leadership series and stuff like that. So it's like, if you have any recommendations, I'm all for recommendations.
Right on. Well, Lori, there was a quote I read in a book that really took me, and it said, the majority, it said something to the effect of, rather than reading a plethora of books and only doing about 2% of what each book says, if you take the time and digest all of the individual steps in that book and follow them, so again, being intentional, am I actually following through? When the book says, write down this affirmation and put it up on your mirror, really making sure that we're doing that, because then we're getting the full value, then we're getting the full impact, right? Like when we tell somebody who's a customer who's saying, I'm just going to stop Juice Plus because I keep forgetting to take it, and we say, okay, let me help you. Here's a couple reminders. Take the Juice Plus and put it on the counter so you see it every day, right? So those sort of things. I actually just listened to, um, and it's wild that it was the first time I actually made it all the way through. It was Think and Grow Rich,
Oh,
and it's a classic, and um, there's some things you can tell that it was written in a slightly different age, and there's so much good stuff in there. Um, and the phase I'm in right now with, um, you know, gosh, what's his name? He did 10X. So
Grant
re-
Cardone.
thank you, Grant Cardone. So Grant Cardone, I'm listening to him right now. I just finished Brunson's. Oh my goodness, now I'm blanking on it. Um, but it was and his book was all about telling a story, learning how to be a storyteller, right? When we're out there, like, what is it we're doing? We're sharing our message, but if we don't know how to convert our emotional body message into a verbal story to be able to convey that impact, then we kind of miss the boat there. So I can't believe I'm forgetting it.
Is
his
it
book.
Story Brand, Michael?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
oh, okay. And I've just posted about 8 or 9 books in the chat if anybody wants to go in and copy them down. Those are just some books that over the years that have been great books. And any book, oh God. Now I'm really going.
I see that. Thank you.
Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson.
Oh.
It's really about finding your own. There's a phenomenal section about finding and writing your own hero's journey. Yeah, and Nikki put in Gifts of Imperfection. That, gosh, for the parents out there, she has an audio on the gifts of imperfect parenting. Mariah got that for me after the birth of our son, and that was pretty impactful. Anything by Brene Brown is awesome. Yeah. And I saw the 4 Agreements that Nikki put out there. So I think, having a healthy balance, when you think about what are your top 3 values, are you reading books that complement those top 3 values? So if your top 3 values are connection with spirit, marriage, family, and business, but you're only filling your brain with business books, so you're trying to grow your business, but are you also working on growing as a parent, growing as a spouse or a partner, growing your spiritual connection? Because we don't want it to be too heavy on one side. We want a nice, healthy harmony in what's coming in the programming. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of success leaving clues, y'all, you just saw how Michael and Nikki were able to just pour out like 10 of their favorite books, right? So I think the voracious, always beginner's mind, lifelong learning that both Michael and Nikki bring to their lives and therefore to their teams are, those are some of those beautiful breadcrumbs that they leave for us. So I want to honor the time, and we can take this off record, but if anybody wants to stay on after our recording is finished, I welcome you. Michael, you are a joy and a gift to me and this community and to the world. And I thank you so much for bringing your wisdom tonight.
Love you.
Love you. Quick comment. First of all, Kirsten, so thank you so much for pulling Mike onto this call, asking him to be here with us tonight. So I want to give you a shout out, Kirsten, for your wisdom in asking Michael to be here. But, for somebody, for example, that I know Barry Bettman doesn't know you, Michael, but his comments is, thank you, Michael. Love your presence. That is about the best honor that you can have. It's like saying your essence of just love so shines through when you're speaking, the tone of your heart, your curiosity, your own way of following clues. It's all heart directed, and people feel that. And that was really just beautiful tonight to let other people who don't know you feel that we all get to feel when we are in your presence. Yeah.
I've had awesome teachers. Thank you, Nikki. I love you.
I love you too.
Come from love.
And keep the love flowing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everybody. Beautiful
Beautiful.
call.
Love you, brother.
I hope a lot of
Thank you.
tune
Thank
in
you.
and get to see this as I post it onto the Heat Team Facebook group, because it's a real joy to get to spend this time together with you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just,
Good to see you.
Good night, everybody.
good
I love
night. Thank
Good
you so
night.
much,
Thank
Michael. Love
you.
you.